What is up, YouTube? I'm Cameron from The Breakdown. I'm here with Alex Shoulakis and Payne Surratt. Today we'll be going over our terrific 10, our top 10 NFL teams going into Week 5. The Week 4 games I've just wrapped up. So let's get into it. Our number 10 spot,
Cincinnati Bengals.
Coming off a win in Cincinnati. Prayers up for Tua, obviously.
I think they're starting to find their stride a little bit.
A
Higgins emerging as a top 10 guy. Because which he is. Higgins is a top 10 guy.
So we got Higgins over Jamar here, right?
No, I didn't say Higgins over Jamar. I'm saying Higgins is emerging as a top 10 guy.
Okay.
Finding the stride's a little bit of stretch. They beat the Jets and Tua-less
Dolphins.
I think the Bengals are a top 10 team for the sheer fact that they made the playoffs they made the Super Bowl last year. But I think the Ravens win this division. I think the Ravens are way better than the Bengals as of right now.
I agree.
That's
I agree with everything Peyton said. The Bengals were a fringe top 10 team for us. We could have put teams like the Packers over them, the Vikings over them, but you know it is early. They've only played 4 games.
Better quarterback, better talent around them.
Right. So our 9 spot, coming off another win against the Texans, are the Los Angeles Chargers.
Team we were so high on at the beginning of the season, but injuries have really
Hurt them
a ton. They're banged up on defense. They're banged up on front of offensive line. Keenan Allen is hurt. They haven't really run the ball. Outside of this week, they really have not run the ball well at all.
They didn't run the ball well this week either.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna put that out there.
Yeah, Austin Eckler was able to find the end zone though. So
3 times.
I think this win was more of a product of the Texans being bad.
The Texans are the worst defensive rush team. I think they gave up like 120 yards a game to the rush, and Chargers had 81 yards.
Ouch.
I don't think the Chargers are that there yet. I think if they get the ball to Eckler just a little bit more, they kind of need to force feed.
And I think Keenan back will help them a lot.
I agree. I think
and
that's
Mike will be a deep threat instead of an over the middle threat.
I think Keenan being back in the offense will get them more in a groove.
And they just need to get healthy overall.
Yeah. Exactly.
So our number 8 spot, the Dallas Cowboys.
Man, I think the Cowboys was the team that I wasn't really high on, but
I think we thought the Cowboys were probably getting to the bottom of that division.
I thought honestly, once Dak went
Dak
down, I was out on the Cowboys, and I've completely flipped my script on that. I think that defense is amazing.
My DPOY pick looking
My
amazing
DPOY,
right
I mean,
now.
Micah Parsons is an alien.
Their whole D
nice.
line is amazing. They're getting so much pressure on the quarterbacks. They're stopping the run. I mean, once Dak gets back, I mean, they have Michael Gallup came back too. So
Yeah,
Michael Gallup.
That's a big ad. That's actually a big ad.
He caught a touchdown.
Gallup is a really good receiver.
Yeah. Diggs has been playing great lately.
Great,
solidifying himself as that top line.
I love the Cowboys this year.
Next up, the Dolphins. Tua-less Dolphins.
Yeah.
I think Alex and I have the same persona on the Dolphins. We don't really like them, especially with 2 out. But I think
they win.
They've earned the respect of being a top 7 team in the league. I just think
they have the playmaking ability of just Tua and Waddle is just it's unreal.
And I love how they're using Mostert a lot more.
Yeah.
They're getting Mostert involved, which was exactly what Mike McDaniels did in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And that's what propelled them to the Super Bowl that year.
Right. Yeah. And they have a solid defense, so it's really solid all the way around.
Sleeper, very good defensive player. Jalen Phillips out of Miami.
Yeah.
Like he went to U of Miami, but he's actually I love him first round pick.
Someone that's also been
good.
Playing really well for them is Javon Holland. You don't need to look out for him. He's having a great year.
The defense is really good.
Speaking of the Niners, that is our next team up. 49ers.
Niners do everything good.
We love the Niners.
Fundamentally sound team. They run the ball very good. They're good at football.
I want to say it was Colin Cowherd who said this, who said they have the formula to win, and I think that's just perfectly said. I mean, I think that their defensive front is amazing. They run the ball super well.
Fred Warner might be the best linebacker in football.
I think with Trey Lance getting hurt, obviously get better, but I think Jimmy gives them a better chance to win games.
Honestly,
I think obviously Trey Lance is the better talent or whatever. He's younger. They gave him the keys to the franchise, but I think Jimmy's just better now.
And we had this conversation last night that we don't think that Jimmy is some amazing top 10 quarterback, but he just needs to, if he manages the game and he doesn't turn the ball over, they're gonna win.
This is the thing with the 49ers with Lance and Jimmy. The comparison was Lance just gives him another layer with him running the ball. But I think back with Jimmy G, they're like seeing what their identity is running the ball with the running backs, getting the ball to Debo.
They're gonna run the ball, and then when they throw it,
Bros.
Exactly.
give Debo time to make plays after the catch.
And they're also what they wanted to do with Ayuk last year, he was in the doghouse last year, they're doing with him this year. They're using him as the X receiver, getting him in space a little bit more, which is
they're like getting him into one-on-one matchups, and he's gonna win those matchups like on slants and
that's giving Debo and Kittle more one-on-one matchups.
Yeah, the one thing I would like to see is them trying to get Kittle more action and receiving game, because they're pretty much like using him as a second tackle.
I think he's the best blocking tight end.
He is.
He's like a tackle.
But that
guy's
adds
insane.
Is Trent Williams still hurt?
Yeah.
I think with Trent Williams out, we're gonna see him used as a blocker just a lot more.
I think once he becomes, because like whenever they made it to the Super Bowl, or not made it to the Super Bowl, right? He had like one of the greatest tight end seasons of all time.
A lot of his yards usually come off like little play action. He's able to slip out because he's another yards after catch guy. He's like one of the fastest.
The Yak Bros, bro.
So
we all
Debo. If you couldn't tell, we love the 49ers.
Talk about the Niners all day.
Next up, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I mean,
I honestly think the Tampa Bay. I think they're a really good football team with Godwin back as well. Godwin and Evans. Obviously, Evans is. I think he's a top 8 receiver right now. Honestly. That defense didn't look good against the Chiefs, but I think Mahomes, for the sheer fact that he's the best quarterback I've personally seen.
Right.
Yeah.
He's so special. And the throws he was making at Kelsey, nobody else is making those exact throws.
What he did with CEH in the end zone where he's pumped.
It's ridiculous. I think the Bucks defense is very good. Jamal Dean is playing out of his mind this year. Also Murphy Bunting and Antoine Winfield back there. They're a very good football team. The defense is very good, and their offense is just going to come back in stride once they use Fournette.
It was encouraging to see them finally put up some points on offense.
Yes.
Having Godwin back changes everything.
And they put up 31 points with Leonard Fournette running for negative 3 yards.
Yeah. And they've been running the ball really well prior to that.
But I think we kind of saw that coming with all the injuries at O-line.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
But if they get
healthy,
if they solidify their running game and Fournette's back to what he was doing last year, I think this team could propel into a top 3 team, like it should be.
For sure.
Next up, the Baltimore Ravens.
And they should have won. They should have won on Sunday.
The Ravens should be 4-0 right now, realistically. I mean,
yeah, they've lost 2 games to the Bills and the Dolphins. They definitely should have won. I mean, Lamar's playing great. You know, they're running the ball. Dobbins came back and he had a great game.
Yes,
2 touchdowns.
I mean, it was coaching, bad coaching by Harbaugh on Sunday.
I think Harbaugh is he just gets too greedy sometimes. Sorry.
Yeah, they did not need to go for that on 4th.
I mean, just kick the field goal. Yeah, I mean, you're up 3.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm scared of Allen, but
you have Lamar.
Getting no points is a lot worse than kicking a field goal.
Yeah, take your 3 in.
And I mean, it's not like the Ravens' defense, some atrocious defense. Like, they have a solid defense.
Yeah, I agree. Going into our top 3 teams, our number 3 spot.
It's the Buffalo Bills. I think
our preseason 1.
I think they could be the 1. I think they're interchangeable. I think the Bills are just a solid.
The only thing that kind of just holds them back really is their lack of a running game.
That is, yeah.
And they really can't run the ball at will. And part of it, I think, is their running backs aren't very dynamic, and part of it is their offensive line is just not really built for the run game.
I saw that as well. I think if they got Cook more involved, I could see them trying to get the ball on the ground a little more. But I mean, Allen throwing the ball 45 times a game.
And Allen can do it, and they have good receivers. But when you show a defense that you're not really willing to run the ball, it makes it a lot easier to guard the pass.
Exactly.
Yeah, Allen's under quite a bit of pressure, but because he's so dynamic and he has the legs that he has, he makes it work. He's under pressure, scram out the pocket, make a great play to Diggs. So,
I mean, the theme with all the top 10 teams that we have are, besides the Niners, you have really good quarterback play.
Yeah. Dak's still
Cooper Rush has been having very good numbers as a quarterback.
I think the reason the Cowboys are so good is because of their pass rush.
I agree. It's defense and quarterback plays. That's how you win games, especially at the front. Pass rush wins you games.
And I think with teams like the Bills and the Bucks, the reason they probably aren't higher up is because of offensive line.
Yeah, and just too much pressure, not being able to run the ball effectively.
Now our only undefeated team and our number 2 spot.
They can absolutely run the ball effectively.
Miles Sanders had a field day against the Jags.
Peyton said this earlier. This is probably the most complete team in football. Their defensive line is unreal.
Their pass rush is insane.
Their corners, Darius Slay's playing great.
Bradbury.
Hertz isn't turning the ball over. Yeah, they have Bradbury, Miles Sanders, AJ Brown is just an animal.
Coming into the season, the problem with Hertz was turning the ball over. Doesn't turn the ball over, they're 4-0. If Hertz continues not to turn the ball over, this team is going to be in great shape.
And you add AJ Brown to a wide receiver core with Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert, and suddenly you have that true Alpha X guy, and they're not turning the ball over. They're winning games on the defensive side.
I really do think AJ Brown was that X factor.
I agree.
Absolutely.
I think
now you get Devontae Smith, which is, well, he won the Heisman. Like this guy was a crazy elite talent, crazy elite route running. Him in one-on-one matchups.
You saw what he did a couple weeks ago when he put up 156 yards.
Yeah. He's probably a top 3, number 2 wide receiver behind T and maybe Thielen.
Yeah.
I think Brown is close to 500 yards or something through 4 games. So he's just been amazing.
Right. And then our number 1 spot, pretty obvious right now.
That team's ridiculous.
I don't think they're not better than the Eagles as an overall team, but
no,
they have Patrick Mahomes, and that's just
Mahomes gives you a chance in any single game. I don't care if the offensive line. Obviously that Super Bowl.
Yeah,
a few years ago, and they still had a chance in that game. Mahomes and Kelsey, the dynamic. Juju's getting more involved.
Hilaire's has found a second life after looking like this absolute.
But did you hear what they were saying on the broadcast? It was since Isaac Pacheco's been running the ball super hard. You see him run the ball super hard, and it's challenging Clyde to run the ball even harder.
Right.
So they're both. That's a combination of the two. I love it. I absolutely love it.
I mean the Chiefs.
And obviously, pass rush with Chris Jones. Pass rush is still there.
And their defense has looked a little bit better, especially at stopping the run, which is something that their defense has been problems in the past. But come on, Mahomes is just.
Yeah. And that sneaky out of Justin Reed from the Texans, he's a pretty good safety as well. I think that defense is not a bottom 10 defense anymore.
Yeah. And if they're not, Mahomes is going to win you more games than he loses.
I agree.
Exactly.
All right, that's wrapping it up for us. Thanks for tuning in.
Terrific 10.
Terrific 10. Make sure to tune into the TikTok, and next week for our
TikTok is blowing up right now.
Peace out.
Peace.